You were born to do something extraordinary. We all were, because that's why we were born. But if you're not doing that yet, you probably don't know who you are. You haven't figured out who your authentic self is, or you haven't been given a way to discover that, or you don't want to. I'm saying that because I've created all the ways for you to get there, and there's no reason that you couldn't do it. And I've said this so much because I said anybody can afford this. I've created this plan for you to live this really extraordinary life, but the problem will be you won't believe me. And that's okay because I didn't believe myself either. That's what happens. We have to move through our level of disbelief about who we are and what we can accomplish. Now, much of that is not your fault, though, because you've probably been taught that you weren't enough or you couldn't do something or whatever it might have been. When we come into the world, we have one thing to operate with, and that's our consciousness. That consciousness, though, it's fresh, it's new, but it's also been programmed by our particular life path, our journey, our DNA, our families, whatever it might be. But then when you move beyond it, guess what happens? You start doing extraordinary things and you start to become happy and you heal and you make a contribution to the world. Because again, that's why we're all born. There's no single person who does not have that within them. But we have to move through the programming that we've had to be able to access that. And then sometimes it's really challenging because you might have done something like I did. See, I wrote it all down. I kind of understood, oh, this is how consciousness changes, and this is how the world changes. And if we were to do something different, we would heal and we would have a very different life. And then I'll say that and I'll look at people and they'll say, no, that's not true. We can't do it. And then there's an alignment that happens in the universe where we're all connected. And then we begin to figure it out. And you'll say, that's not true either. Then I got up today and I did my regular meditation. I did my message. And then I sat down and they said, well, now go back. And so I went back to 2020 because it wanted me to see the alignment that is happening this day and why I decided that I was going to do a free presentation tomorrow called How to Live the Life of Your Dreams, because I know anyone could do that if they decided to become their authentic self. That's all that it is, ever. There's been no person born in history that does not have that ability. But what we do have is free will, meaning that we can choose to stay exactly where we are and not change and not do the things that would give us the extraordinary life. So I thought, I'm 73 years old, so maybe I need to do that now. I'm saying that because I also said that on Monday, I'm changing this because I have so much more work to do before I leave this earth, basically. But I have so much more because I've only put a portion into my program. And so what I'm going to do now is add so much more so that I can charge get up to that $5,000 because I know it's worth way more than that. But that's what I want to leave with people, something that they can use to really continually manifest the life they want to have and also make a great contribution to our world. So we don't live forever. And I'm going to read a message that came through on this date in 2020. And if you remember, in 2020, in most places around the world, we were dealing with the pandemic, the COVID. And so we were all thinking something a little bit different during that time. But I was receiving different information. And I struggled for the last 4 years trying to tell everyone how I did this and how I healed my life from the person who went through everything, who suffered, who screwed up everything, who did all this crazy stuff in his life. And then I end up here healed and like reversing it all. And I'm saying anyone can do that if you decide to get out of your way. Let me read the message for you because I'd love for you to have this. And I'm going to leave the link for you to register for the presentation, and you can come to that. I'm going to send the replay to everyone so you don't have to be there in person. But just know that, and you can check out the program today because it will be different on Monday if this is something that you would like to do. I just know that it'll change your life. That's all. And here's the message. And you can see it's August 23rd, 2020. You are in the process of creating the real future you desire. We know those words might sound crazy to many at this time, but we assure you that is occurring, or you would not be alive during this time, and requested these challenging circumstances. Don't worry, we will tell you a story to have this make sense. Roger continually says to his clients through our guidance that you each have everything you need to create the life you want, but you typically overlook that. And because you do, you have not placed enough value and importance on who you are. A catastrophe, however, does cause you to access more of your innate abilities purposefully. It will also now become clear why we keep saying you will be fine. In 2006, Roger was living in the home of his dreams and embarked on a new business. A year later, everything changed. You experience in your world what you call the Great Recession. The financial insecurity you are feeling now was felt profoundly by all then. Roger subsequently lost everything, as some of you are experiencing currently, or even for even more reasons than merely the pandemic. Roger felt like a complete failure, even though he could blame some of his downfall on the world's circumstances, just as you are doing now. Before this time, Roger became obsessed with the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Roger abandoned those concepts, so the following events of his life didn't make sense until now. Roger thought he should have implemented it all then, but he didn't. 4 years from the time he began the book, the riches showed up. The We have said you typically change slowly, and you do so by the programming you do with your thinking. Roger was doing that with this book, but it took a while for him to know why it was working now. And he couldn't understand why he couldn't see it during his personal catastrophe, as you might be blind to your reasons for having this pandemic now. Roger discovered he was heading in a direction in his life that would not have allowed him to do the work he is now, that he loves and feels destined. You are being pushed to do that thing, whatever it might be, that you have resisted or ignored. When you give yourself permission to recognize what that is and move toward it, you will experience your richness, and not only in money, you will be fine. And that's the thing that I have come to know, and I've known it with all of my clients. And so, but getting others to understand it and accept it, just as it was for me, challenging. But I'm doing that now because, again, it's time to move on. It's time to make a change. And see, the work that I was given was meant for this time in our world because we're moving through a big transition. And all of that has been written as well, and I've had all of that. The only thing I haven't done is put all this together where it's this full program that just completely transforms your life, but also our world. Because, see, you come out happy, you come out knowing who you are, you come out becoming willing to be more abundant. And that's what I'm doing. Now, the reason I said you may not want to, because a lot of people will use this excuse that they can't move ahead because they don't have the money. Well, right now and today, this program is anyone can afford it because there's a monthly thing there that anyone could do. Now, I don't know what it's going to be on Monday, but it'll be different. It's going to be more. But I'm just saying this now because I want you to understand that you have everything you need, as I've said forever. You have everything you need to really manifest this wonderful life. And I'll talk more about it tomorrow in the presentation, how to live the life of your dreams, because it's in your hands. You just have to decide if you're going to do it. That's it. All right. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel and also share it with others. I want more people to show up tomorrow or at least listen to the replay because that will be available as well. All right. See you guys soon.